Okay.
Hey, welcome to the Sips and Smut podcast. I'm Maddie,
I'm Jordan.
and today we are talking about Pen Pal by J.T. Geisinger. Oh boy,
Yeah, I will say we're gonna headline
this book
this
wrecked
strongly
me.
first before we get into anything.
Yes.
Spoilers
Spoilers, and do not watch this if you've not read it. You have to read the book blind or you will ruin it.
or listen to it. Either
Or
or.
listen to it. Yes.
But this is not a book. This is not one where you want to listen to us talk about it because
No,
the
read it first.
the whole book is pretty much a twist. The whole damn book is.
The
And
whole thing. You will literally ruin the whole book.
and
And it's
we
such a good book.
you don't want to know before you go in. Go
Like
in blind.
I'll give you my rating at the beginning. This is a 5 out of 5.
I agree with her rating. It is a 5 out of 5.
Yes.
Straight up.
Yes. Straight
Do
up. So
do not
do not ruin
listen to
it.
the rest of this review, book discussion, anything until you read this damn book. You got to read it
Yes.
first. Do
And then
not.
come back
Yeah, and
because
then
you're going to want to talk through it.
you're going to want to hear people's thoughts on it. You're going to
Yes.
want to hear the discussion after it because it's that much of a good book that you want to discuss
Yes.
it with someone.
Absolutely.
But absolutely do not. I don't know how many times I need to say this. Do
Don't
not
ruin it.
Don't ruin it for yourself. Just read it, watch it, listen to it, not
And
watch it.
and I'm
But
somebody who I do ruin books for myself because I have no patience. And I tried to ruin this book a few times. And literally every time I did, the first thing everybody said was, don't ruin the book.
yeah, don't do it.
And so that was enough for what I needed to exit the review and be like, fine,
Mm.
fine if I have to.
So
Because
that's our
it's
big
you're gonna
headliner.
want to,
That's
but
our
don't.
headliner. That
Ugh,
the spoilers are
this,
going to be rampant
yes,
because there's really no way around it at all.
there's not. You
And
can't talk about this book without the twist because that's the whole book.
yep. So at this
Yes,
moment,
stop.
this is where we're stopping our like warnings and spoilers and all that. If you've gotten here, cool. If you've already read this story, you may continue. If you have not,
If you haven't and you're still listening, you suck and you're gonna ruin
yeah,
this book. And I don't like you.
don't do that. We don't do that to
Don't
yourself.
respect the book. Respect yourself. Respect the book.
Mm-hmm. Respect your experience. You want
Exactly.
that
It's worth
experience.
it. I promise 150% it's worth it.
Now, we're
Yes,
gonna get
done.
into now we've done that,
Let's
we're
get
going
into
to get
it.
into discussion. So
This book ruined my day. I literally sent you a video of me sobbing
yes.
over this book. I was not okay.
What does that say about me that I was like, oh, I'm ready to read it? Like
You
I'm
read
like,
it. If I
yes.
had read it, I would have been okay. When I listened to it, dead. I was dead.
So I did this in
That's
two
the best
parts.
book review, though, right? Isn't it? If
Yeah.
somebody calls you and they're like, I am wrecked, you're like, give me the name and the author now.
Yep. I need the
I
deets
need
of
it.
what you read. So here's the thing. I did a mixture of both. And
Oh,
yeah, so I had that the feelings, the tone, the intensity. I had all of that from listening, which is really
yes,
important, I think, in many aspects, because
agree.
shout out to Troy Duran for doing such a great job with the
Oh
male
my God.
characters. Um,
He he was so different for everybody.
he really was. I
He
forgot for a
made
moment.
this.
Yeah, I forgot that it was a different character, or not a different character. I forgot that it was the same author for each one.
Yeah.
And I'm just okay. How about you go first on that? I don't want to go too much
This who
because I did both. I'll you go first with since you listened to it and it wrecked you. So
it just wrecked me so much. So I this is this is gonna sound so narcissistic, and I don't mean it that way. You know I'm not that way. I consider myself a fairly smart person.
hmm
So when I listen to stuff like this is a absolute um psychological thriller slash romance. It's my favorite thing to have my mind blown
hmm
like this book. I just love it. And the whole time I'm trying to guess what I think it is. And I gotta tell you, I was confused the whole book
until the end.
until the end. And the ending, when that final puzzle piece slips into place, I was dead. I was dead. She was dead. I
Yeah,
was dead. He was dead. Everyone was dead.
there was a lot of death. Yeah. So I
I loved the journey. I loved the journey the whole time. And I
I
have to tell you, I don't know if you felt this way. I read the back or like the little synopsis, and the whole time I was like, this isn't the synopsis at all. And then it was.
so
And then it was perfect. And I was like,
this that was
that's
the
exactly what this book
that
is,
was how
actually.
brilliant this was
It's
because
so brilliant.
you think it's one way, just reading the little note like
Little
summary,
blurbs. Oh my God, it's
and
so
it's
good.
not, but then it is because
But it is.
there is there is some truth into what they say, but not really because you don't have the full story, and
It's
until you
all
read all of it,
perspective.
yep, if you until you read all of
It's
it, you
all
don't know.
perspective.
Yeah, you won't know shit. You won't know
Oh
shit.
my God. I remember getting to I literally, by the time I got to the end, I ended up turning the speed up, not to finish the book faster, but because I was like on the edge of my seat and I was like, I have to know what's going on. Because by the time I got to like the crux of it right before the seance, I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Hmm.
Who's Dante? What happened to Michael? Who's Aiden?
Yeah, like yeah,
Like, who
it
are
was
these people?
who's Claire and Fiona and
Oh
all of
my
them.
God.
And then the boy that kept
Right? The
appearing.
boy, and then the guy behind the tree, and the coin
Mhm,
everywhere. Oh my God. And I remember this is this book is brilliant.
mhm.
I have zero notes. This is one of those books that you just go like buy a bunch of and you hand them out to people on the street and you're like, just trust me and read it. And just like that.
Read it, listen to
But
it. It's also
I got to
available
the,
on Spotify. If you guys don't
oh,
have
it's,
Audible and you have premium
yes,
Spotify, it is on there.
it's
Just shout out the
really, it is really good to listen to. And I honestly, I loved listening to it the first time. I want to go back. I'm gonna buy this. I'm gonna buy like a nice copy of this. And then I'm gonna go back and read it.
So my mistake, because I had seen this plenty of times and I've been meaning to read this and I knew
Yeah,
another friend who read it and she's like, it wrecked me. I'm like, I want to read this. So the problem was I knew in my gut that this was probably going to be really special, but they have not come out with this collector's edition or anything yet. No sprayed
I
edges,
can't
nothing.
believe that.
And
It needs to happen. I'll
I
buy it
had,
500 times if I have to. I'll buy it now so I have a hard copy so I can read it. And then when
mm,
the special edition comes out, I'll buy that. And you know what? I'll probably try to buy a signed copy of that because it is that book.
I want to use this book for her to sign. Like I
The
want to
original one,
yeah, like the one that I first got, like that I want
the
her to
one, this
sign
is
it.
the book that wrecked me.
Yes,
This is
this.
sentimental. Yes.
So on now on my part about this book, like I said earlier, I did a mixture because my life isn't chaotic.
Yeah.
Um,
Who's who has a normal life?
I listened to it and then I also was reading it on my Kindle.
Mm,
I I couldn't actually sit down and do a reading of this. I could only
yeah.
read on my Kindle on certain parts, like because of what I was doing. Um,
Yeah.
I finished it yesterday in one of the bookstores that was over an hour away for the book crawl that I'm doing. Um, in Fate, Texas, called Leather and Bound. And the book setting was perfect because it was a bookstore with a coffee bar and plenty of seating. I was sitting in a plush chair, had
Oh,
my phone out, and finished the book. Oh my God. Because
oh
it took
God.
about an hour to drive there. And
Yeah.
I was already pretty decently far in the book. So it was getting to some good points
Yeah.
when I was listening
There
to
is a
it.
point of no return in this book where
I
you're gonna finish it. Yeah.
I sped it up a little bit a couple of times because I was like, I
I
I
need to
don't
know.
I feel like I'm gonna have a stopping point where it's not gonna be fun for me mentally to stop at.
Yes.
So, and it kind of still happened that way, and that's why I was like, I just hope that I can sit down and finish this on my phone. So I did. And I had to like sit there a little bit to digest it and be like, I'm glad I didn't listen to it
Ugh.
in the store because I feel like I would have cried hard. But
Yeah,
I was,
listening to it, the emotion in their voice.
but
Oh
being,
God.
but reading it and being there, I'm like, I'm glad I read it.
You can kind of keep it together a little because it's just one sense instead of two,
Well, yeah, and
or senses. I mean,
I mean, I could still see it in my head, but it's not the same when you have like actual
when
voices
you're hearing it, yeah,
and the
it
tone.
just it's more visceral, I
So,
think.
any warning on that is if you want like that gut punching moment, you definitely want to listen to it. If you want to do like what I did to do a mixture, because you still get kind of the emotion with it. But if you don't want like I couldn't burst into tears at in this
Yeah,
place. So I was just like I didn't want
I
that to
think
happen.
both actors do such a great job with this book that it's worth listening to at least a little bit.
Troy Duran is the male narrator, and Tara Langella is the female narrator, and they
So
did a
good.
phenomenal job. Phenomenal job. I
You can
loved it.
tell, you can hear the chemistry.
Hmm.
And I know that like typically when narrators are recording, they're not together.
Hmm.
These two voices, these two people have such a vocal chemistry without even being in the same room as each other. It just adds something special to this book.
And it's already a special book because of the writing.
It is.
So
This is, I think, my favorite book of the year for me.
I don't know if I want to say that yet because we still have the
That's
rest of
okay.
the year to go.
It's at my number one spot at this point, is all
Uh,
I mean.
I would say it's in my top five.
That's fair.
I'm not gonna say my number one because I really did love Haunted a lot.
Yeah. I and
But
see, I haven't read that one. So
but it also didn't challenge me emotionally like this did.
this
So,
it's a different this is a different read because it is a psychological thriller and a romance.
mhm,
It it hits so many points. It scratched so many itches. It was just so good. It's such a dynamic book.
mhm.
It's its own genre.
I
It's its own thing.
It really is. It's kind of its own
Yeah.
subgenre of dark romance because it okay. I feel like we should rewind a little bit. There's so much that happens in this book. So, this is like a paranormal psychological
Romance, dark
crime
romance.
crime dark romance book.
Yeah. It's like everything that a dark romance girl loves. There's true crime, there's romance, there's darkness, there's paranormal,
Revenge. There's revenge too.
revenge, God, revenge. There's a little bit of history,
Yeah.
itty
There
bitty
is
bit.
a
I know, and
little
like, well, because Michael was into that. He was a,
well, it's just okay.
yeah, it's strategic.
Well, it was like it's more factual stuff to explain
Yes,
because of the penny.
because of the
But
penny. But you do
okay.
get, you, I learned something there.
Mm. Okay. So I'm trying to figure out how to start out. Like, how would you start out the summary of this, the intro to this, without giving away right away so
The
much?
summary literally is the back of the book.
Mm,
And when I first read it and I was reading the book, I was like, this is not what this was advertised as. And then I got to the end and I was like, it's exactly what was advertised, actually.
it's just perspective, like you
It's
said,
all
which is
perspective.
so okay. I think I figured out a way to say that. That's not so much a summary.
Yeah.
Kayla is going through an experience of grief, and
Yes.
during this experience,
Of
everyone
her marriage ending.
in the beginning of the book, you think it's death.
Yes.
So, and it is death, but not the death you thought. So
It's not the death you thought.
that's where the trick comes in. But before we get into that, so Kayla is going through grief in a sense,
Yeah.
and that's kind of how the book starts, is her grappling with this grief that she has. And so
Oof.
we're following along thinking it's grief of her losing someone.
Yes.
In a sense it is that, but she's as it goes along, and then she is trying to just, when something traumatic happens in your life, even though you're forever changed, you still try to move and do things to keep going, because if you stay still, you're not gonna
That
move. That's
and
kind of the
humans
vibe.
are,
That's kind of the vibe it first sets
yeah, we're
in when
creatures
you're.
of habit.
Mm-hmm.
So going back to your normal is how she tries to deal with her grief.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it is admirable to an extent, but it's also like kind of frustrating for her, because the time
It's
frame that
not
they
normal.
it's the time yeah, the time frame that
Yeah.
they give you, it's not very long, and she's trying really hard just to push forward, and like there's a breaking point at some point. Um,
Yes, you can see it coming.
and then it introduces another character that's there to help her, because they have an old house. She has an old house
Yeah.
that she's living in, and there's a lot of problems. So she's it's a contractor. His name is Aiden, and then Aiden is introduced, and they have like a somewhat working relationship, and it becomes more of a thing as it progresses, as in this book progresses. But it also, the grief part really struck a chord with me. I want to touch on that a bit more before
Yes.
we go into Aiden and his part,
That's
because
totally fine. It's really well
because
written.
the way that JT writes this part is so good, because not only does she trying to handle like this grief that she is dealing with, she decides to try to even go to this group, and this secondary kind of character that is brought forth, and she talks about what happened to her and why she's in
Yeah.
this grief group, is just a gut punch. Like, I didn't expect that just from a
The
secondary
gut
character.
the gut punch, and when you come back to her later on in the book and you realizing how things really are, the gut punch that is also Kayla asking her if the group helped. And she goes, "What do you think?" Because she's still there. And then you realize at the end of the book, and it's even worse because she's still there
Mm-hmm.
dealing
Feeling,
with this.
yeah,
And it's heartbreaking and beautiful and wonderful.
and well written, because
It's so
how
good.
this is all interconnected by the time you get to the end of the book, it's just phenomenal
It's
writing.
genius.
It's
It's
phenomenal.
genius. Yeah.
So that part, before we get in, I know we're gonna get into there, and people are gonna be like, "Well, you guys keep saying that. What's so phenomenal?" Trust us, we'll get there.
Just
But we need to explain, because it is so intricate. It is very intricate. That's part of the reason why we were shouting like, "You do not want to spoil it," because it's so intricate. You can't get the
you
full picture unless you read it. You really
this
can't.
is this is one of those books. So if you've seen the movie The Others,
Mm,
it's similar to that. And with that, that is a movie that I will always wish I could go back and watch the first time again because it just doesn't have the same impact on you the second time.
mm-hmm,
You get one chance to watch this as it's meant to be seen.
mm-hmm.
And it's the same with this book.
It's not
You
even.
got one chance to read
It's
it how she means it to be read.
Well, there's that, but you could also compare it to, in some instances, like, or not even some instances, to your first experience watching Lord of the Rings, your first
Yes.
experience watching Harry Potter. Like,
Yes.
it's that type of book where it's that first time, that first step into this kind of world. You don't want to ruin it for yourself. So when we say it's intricate, it's fucking intricate. This
I
is
mean,
really,
this
really
is
important.
like lace level intricate here.
So they introduced that secondary character, explain, and she talks about what happened to her and her daughter, and it's just
Yeah.
fucking destroyed me. And that just that,
Yeah.
I was like, and we're not even halfway through the book, and I'm like, we're only
No, we're
like
right
two
at
chapters
like
in,
towards the beginning.
and
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa, Jesus, okay, that was a secondary character. I don't know. I was a little kind of like, am I gonna be okay? Like after this?
I know.
No, I'm not. Turns out, no. The answer is no. But you. as you continue, and Aiden is introduced more, and he really starts to heal her more so than you ever thought, but in a
Yeah.
way, but in a different way. He also understands that she's dealing with something, and she hasn't even
Yeah.
been that fully truthful yet,
Yeah. You don't realize how he's healing her
and you
until the
don't,
very end.
yeah.
And it's, yeah.
So
And I think
she,
that's part of what makes it beautiful because you think he's healing her one way.
and then it turns out it's a whole
And
different kind
it's
of way.
so much more than you
And
ever thought it could be.
she also is she's struggling because she's in her grief, and then she's also recognized she is attracted to him, and
Yeah.
does accept this
Accept the
strange,
attraction. Yeah.
yeah, strange attraction. Isn't I?
There's guilt. There's so much guilt behind accepting that attraction, though. And
Mm-hmm,
I'm really proud of her that she still goes with it,
mm-hmm,
but there's guilt there.
mm-hmm.
And he can see that.
So I'm just gonna go ahead and say this is probably where we get real into the spoilers because you kind of have to in order to keep going.
Yeah.
So the grief part that she's actually experiencing, that we all think she's experiencing, is the loss of her husband. And as it progresses, you kind of don't feel bad about the husband dying. I picked up early on, like, oh, he's an asshole.
Yeah. You
Oh,
can, there's
he's,
little hints that he's an ass, he's abusive.
and
Yeah.
the abusive, like physical part wasn't until much later. I already picked up that at least on a mental level, she was already
She
getting
was
wrecked
somehow
there
a battered woman. Yeah.
because I don't know if you picked it up even whenever she
I
talked about
did.
how, like
She was
the
talking about how
shirts,
different they were.
yeah, and the shirts. Well, no, well, even before she talked about how different Aiden and him were. She had briefly talked about how like he wanted certain shirts done the way, how he looked, how he was real into education and wanted to have all that and didn't understand why
Yeah. And
he
she
didn't.
was an artist and
And she was the more practical one with money, but he wanted, and that, wanted to do more of the education. I thought that was already a flag. Like
so did I.
I was like, how okay.
I was like, I mean, that's weird. I get okay, but like,
I was already
why
kind
would
of
you put
like,
the emphasis on that?
I'm kind of like, I don't know if Michael was a good guy. As the kind of already was, I
Yeah,
was getting the vibe because of
I was saying
how
that.
of he was like really pushy about her keep going to school, and they weren't like made
Yes,
money, but yet he was also being a penny pincher at the same time.
yes.
And
And
I
then the
was like,
wedding picture where she was like, I'm looking at my wedding picture and I see a smudge. And she's like, oh, it's not a smudge, it's a bruise.
yeah,
And it's their wedding picture.
I was
So
like,
you
oh, so that
realize
he's
like
been hitting
how
her.
long this has been going on. And honest to God, I got mad when I found out Michael wasn't dead. I was like, you've got to be kidding me.
I was too. I because honestly, another part of this, the part of her grief is that, and you're thinking Michael is dead throughout most of the book, is because there's strange happenings going on in her
Strange
house.
happenings. I There was a time where I thought, okay, he didn't die in the accident because then she says he drowned,
Hmm.
and and I was like, oh, maybe he didn't drown and they just never found the body, and now he's coming back to get revenge. But then I was like, but why is all the like weird? Why are the
I
lights
didn't
flickering? Why are the drawers opening?
I didn't think that because I've read enough books where with paranormal parts where the haunted bad guy came back and
Yeah,
was doing some nefarious shit because bec practical magic is a great example of that. Have you ever seen
that
that?
is a really good. I love that.
So that practical magic is a great
Yeah, that's a
example of
good
that of
reason.
like
Yeah,
bad boyfriends comes back with otherworldly abilities and is trying to wreak havoc. That's essentially what I thought was happening. And I was like, well, this is a very, it's not often used. Like I rarely see
yeah,
it, but I have. So I was like, oh, this is a good take on that. So I'm interested to see if she figures out it's
it
something like
is.
that. Then it turns out to not to be that at all. And that's what was so great about this book. However, the part where the creepy, uh, she kept seeing
This,
someone being stalkerish and like it's like
yes,
and
with the
I was
teeth and the
and then
coin.
gnarling and just looking
Yeah,
haggard but it was based on real moments that happened to her in her
When he
life
was stalking her at the end
after,
of her life.
yeah, and she was, had separated from him and he was doing that. So that's what makes it so great, so believable because you're like, this is
Yes.
like, oh, that's his ghost because you think for the majority of the book that he's
Yeah, you
dead,
do, that he's
and
dead.
he's there haunting her and making her life miserable because he's such a narcissist control asshole that he wants to control her
Yes.
until she's probably, even if she's dead, he'd want to try to control her then too. Um,
Yeah.
so that's what so that was the surprising factor and the surprising part for me.
Yeah.
But I don't want to get too much into that because there's still so much to build up before we get to that part.
I know.
So there, she's seeing all this happen, and she's also seeing images of a boy like just running around,
Yeah, and his little rain slicker.
and she's thinking like, my first thought with the rain slicker was like, "Hello, Georgie," and I was just
I
like,
think exactly what I thought too.
so where?
I
Wait,
was like,
wait,
oh,
wait,
great.
wait.
Now it's a demon child in her
Oh, it's like,
house.
so now is it like, is he gonna make an
Is
appearance here?
where's the
Like,
balloon?
is Pennywise coming out? Like, I was like, where are we going? So
Mhm.
it does like trick you a lot. So I was like,
This
maybe,
is a mind book.
and as it progressed,
Yeah.
and she brings up the pregnancy part,
Then I do the same thing.
well, before she even brought the pregnancy part, I was like, maybe she had a child, and that's part of her grief traumas because she can't,
Yes.
because she's just all over the place. That's part of it.
And
So
she's
when
forgetting things.
Yeah, so I thought that boy coming across a lot was her imagining what could have been. So my thought is like, it's a
Yeah.
haunting of her kid, or it's
I
her
did the
kid's,
same thing. And
or
then the
it's her,
pregnancy, I was like, oh, it's the kid.
well, I thought also it could be like a future ghost, like he grew himself up
Oh,
to
that's
try
interesting. Okay.
to help his mom, because I've seen that in actual movies and stuff too,
Yeah. Well,
where
you know
they
what?
like,
And Aiden says that about his dad, where he had to grow up fast to take care of his mom.
yeah. So I thought
Yeah.
maybe it was something like a ghost version because since you're dead, you can make yourself however look how you want.
Yeah.
So I figured it was something like that since he was a baby when he died, like he could have progressed himself to look like that and then try to warn his mom. So because we all thought that it was the ghost of Michael that was causing all the
Yeah.
havoc. So we were thinking that's where I was going. It's like, okay, this is still really
I
good.
thought it was the
And
ghost of
but I
Michael for the majority of the book.
same, but we both of us had thought we figured it out, or at least had some
That's the
semblance of
best
what
part of
was.
this book. You think you
Mhm.
have an idea.
It's
And
nowhere near.
I had a little bit of an idea.
Hmm.
I was a itty bitty bit right.
Yeah, but as we kept
And it
going,
wasn't even close. So yeah.
but we touched on it incorrectly in some ways, but not in the ways that we thought. So that's kind of
Yes.
what's like. It is very much about perspective. We were touching on the right topics, but not quite. But as it went on, and her and Aiden's interaction kept going, and then like his friends were introduced, and it was so raw and
It
real.
was so raw
Like
in the best way. And
and
you just wanted it to work for them.
hmm
And
and
especially when you're conflicted. Like, I don't know if you felt this way at the very beginning. Like, there was things where I was like, all right, I don't think that Michael was who I thought he was. But at the same time, I was like, I understand her grief with not, with, saying things of like, it's only been a month since
mhm.
Michael died. And I'm like, I get that, but also I want you to be happy.
Yeah, and the more you learned, the little glimpses you kept getting of Michael, the more you're like, girl, let it go. Like, I get
Right?
it,
You're
but let
like,
it.
you've got Aiden.
And
Let
Gaden's
it
a
go.
great, he's a gem. And
Yeah.
he's even, and he was picking up that something was wrong with her previous relationship
Yes.
because of how she, even, even though we only got glimpses of the situation with like very tiny stuff with Michael, it was what she talked about with Aiden when like, even during their sex talk, like, I've never done this before.
Yeah.
We were very much like missionary with the lights off. And I was like,
Right?
what?
And you know what I love about Aiden is that as rough as it gets,
He's still
he always,
checks in
she
on her.
knew she was in control.
Hmm.
There was never a doubt in her mind that he was going to hurt her.
Aiden is a consent king.
Is a consent king, and he gave her back power in situations where she had lost it before.
Yes. And she didn't
And in the
even
same,
realize it.
she didn't realize it. It's the same situation, and he's changing the narrative to fix it for her, to give her the control when it was taken away and he gives it back to her. He is amazing.
I agree. I agree. I was floored by how, like we said, raw, but just the
It's visceral. Yeah.
emotional intelligence and impact of this character and the and how they worked well with each other. Because you're just pulled in. Even the parts where I
So
was
pulled
reading,
in.
I was still pulled in because I had to stop listening and then I'd have to read it later due to like
Yeah.
life stuff. But I still got pulled back in. I still got pulled back in because I'm not listening to it. There's no tone with it. I'm having to go by what I'm thinking in my head. It doesn't always
Yeah.
necessarily match what you're listening to in with the narrators. So I'm still very invested. I'm still very pulled in and still like, oh my God,
Yeah.
this is so good and just so raw. And I felt for Kayla on a on like on a foundational level because as a woman, you want to hear these things sometimes where it's like she's been through something so shitty and then he's like accepting it and realizing it, but he's also human and he's a little hurt by some of it too because even though he knows that she's going through something, he still cares about her, but he doesn't want just to be
He can't get hurt. He knows he can't get hurt.
the rebounder.
He's all in.
Yeah, he's aware. He realizes early, and I love that too. He's like, I realize early on that I'm all in for her, and she's still
He falls
damaged.
so hard and fast.
She's so
And
damaged still, and he
and he
recognizes that.
wants that.
Yeah,
He wants her exactly how she is, damaged and everything.
to an extent because she needs to acknowledge that she's ready, and that's the part where he's like, I have to step away.
I have to
Step
step
away
away
for that.
because you need to understand that you were damaged and you have to be ready to accept somebody that will not damage you. And there's something really beautiful in that, I think.
Sorry, kids. They decided to come in,
Have
and
kids,
I
they
was,
said. No,
Ugh,
you're totally fine. If
yeah,
anybody gets it, it's me.
yeah. Like I won't edit that out either. You're talking at such a good point. I don't want to edit that out. But let's continue. Sorry.
No, it's that's all good. I just I think he realized, like I said, how she needed to come to terms with the fact and admit to herself that she was damaged. It was not her fault, and accept that she deserves more. He sees that she's really struggling with letting go. And I think a lot of that had to do with coming to terms with the fact that this was an abusive relationship and she did deserve more than that. And she got the short end of the stick and she's got to choose to be happy. You have to choose to let that go. And you can't be with somebody all in if they can't give you everything.
And if they're not, and you recognize it's not because they don't want to, it's because they're
It's because
still,
they can't yet.
well, they can't yet, and they're still having to go through the trauma that they've gone through. Like it's still,
Yes,
they're still
it's
having
still
to,
real.
it's still real for them. They still have to get out of that mentally, physically, whatever. They still have to get to
Yeah.
that point where they're will be healthy enough mentally to do this because
Yeah.
it's going to be a whirlwind, and that was apparent. What also is still at this point, you don't know that Michael isn't dead. You still think that it's a ghost thing. And so
Yeah.
it's amazing because you're like, I really respect him for understanding that because he doesn't there is no inclination that he's aware still that or aware of that it's a ghost or that Michael's dead
Yeah.
because she tells him from the beginning that it's just a separation. Like
They're
she's not willing
separated.
because she's still dealing with her grief of Michael being
Yeah.
dead. And so
And
she doesn't tell him that it's because he's dead.
and at the end you realize that she told him the truth
Mm-hmm.
and
But
it's perspective and she's confused and is
And
essentially living two time frames.
yeah, and she doesn't know that she told him the truth the whole time. So
And
that
she feels guilty. There's guilt about that. Yeah.
yeah, there's guilt because she's like, I'm just not ready there. But she does the way that they write, the way that JT wrote it, because there's a part where Aiden introduces her to his friends, and
Yes.
his best bud Jake calls her out, like, and all that, and she's like, yes, I am aware of what this is, and I'm like, I'm just dealing with this with the trauma of the separation and how this is going, and I'm still having, I she's like, I have been displaced into the from a life that I've known, and now I'm
Yeah.
being, and I'm with Aiden, and I feel, and I do have feelings for him, and it is strong, and it is really good, but I'm still having to work through my grief. But the way she explains it, it's not like half-assed, and
No, not at all.
it's
It's
not like it poorly said, like, eh, and
not
then
all. I
it's
love
just
the
accepted.
way
It's really well explained
it's
and thought
well
out.
explained. Yes. Well, she explains, it's only been a month and she understands what Aiden is to her and
Mm-hmm.
understands how important he is and essentially she knows that he is the one
Mm-hmm.
and she wants him in her life. She's just trying to deal with so much garbage. And I think at the same time to admit I deserve this
Mm-hmm.
is it was what was difficult for her.
Well, it was also so human
It was
because
very human.
nothing is ever cut and dry, right?
Mm-mm.
There's always a
Yeah.
layer of complexity to most human interactions,
Yeah.
relationships. There's always some level of complexity to it. May not always be as complex as this, but there is some layers of it. And I think that's what was so well shown, especially in this moment,
Yeah.
because there's been so many, there's 100 millions of books where they just kind of like, meh, it's because he's dead and she's trying to figure that out, and but still wants to bone Aiden, and they could have like left it as simplistic as that and it not be anything, but
And
that
even
moment.
at that
uh,
point, it still wasn't that simplistic in this book because the writing, even then, when you thought it was that plot,
mhm,
the one that's been done so many times, it was still better than all of those books out there.
it's true, but in that moment, that particular scene stuck with me because of how well written and how it was
Yeah.
explained. So I was like, I really, really loved her writing just from that aspect of like, she
Yeah.
didn't just half-ass this like section. It's
No.
and it isn't, it becomes an important piece later, more so than you
Yeah.
thought. But in that moment, it's like such a highlight of like raw human vulnerability and layers of complexity of a relationship because of all
Yeah.
the different things that you get through life and your experiences and what you're having to go through and healing in your healing journey through that. And that was touched on so well
Yeah.
just in this one moment. I
Hmm.
was that
I think
it just blows your mind that it gets even better
it
as you
does.
keep going.
In that particular scene, I think something that really proves that her writing was so good there was that the friend comes in so hardcore and rightly so. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, what a good friend.
Mm-hmm.
And to be like, don't hurt my friend. Like, I hope you understand how serious he's taking this. And her response to that was so good that the friend after was like, all right, I'm an asshole.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
Because he, she just laid it out in a perfect way of like, I understand what he is. I understand how good he is. I understand what he is in my life, and I am working on getting there.
mm-hmm. Because
So
of,
don't think that I don't
yeah.
recognize this because I do. And because I do, I'm working on myself to become what he needs me to be.
But I also, how she said it, she wasn't being defensive. She was just
Not at all.
explaining.
She was very vulnerable in it and
Yeah.
very honest. And that's why the friend came back and was like, oh, okay, I'm sorry. You are a nice person. I
And
misjudged you.
well, you're not just a nice person, you are a really good person. You are
You're a good
just,
person and you've gone through some shit, and I'm really sorry.
yeah, I'm sorry I didn't
Yeah.
realize like just the layers of it because he didn't know, because Aiden's not going to
No,
tell
yeah,
him
you don't
like that
know.
kind of side of it.
And at that point, you don't think that Aiden knows everything.
Mm-hmm. And so as it keeps going and more bits come to place, and she starts to seek help because it's so all over the place with like these things keeps happening, and she's having a really hard time accepting that it's a paranormal
Yeah.
entity. Like
Yes.
it is a true struggle for her. A little bit annoying to me at one point. I was like, girl, come on. What else do you need to happen for you to be like, this is a
Right?
fucking ghost? Like I was
Right? You're
starting
like,
to,
I don't
I
know what
was
else you need.
like, I was starting to get a little annoyed. Like, do you need a demon to show up? Like, what? Come on.
Like
Because
all of your drawers and cabinets just flew open and honey flew off the shelf. Like, stop explaining this away.
and then the penny kept reappearing and disappearing and all this
Yeah.
stuff. Like, come on. And so there was a part where that was probably the only that's such a minuscule bit, but that's because you're just so frustrated because you're like you think it's this. You think like you're being haunted. Accept it. Get some
Yeah.
help so you can move on and be with Aiden. Come on. And so
Yeah.
that's why you're like frustrated because you're thinking it's this. And so whenever she has a housekeeper. Her name's Fiona. And a Fiona apparently has some sort of affinity to see ghosts and whatnot. And her
Yeah.
sister is a higher level of that and is a medium. And she's like, hey, have you noticed this? Because she picks up on it and she's like, have you noticed this? And seen her reaction and all that. How about I bring my sister along? And I think was it after all the drawers and stuff? I forget which part where
Yeah.
she finally lets Claire, her Fiona's sister, to come over to do the seance. Something, I forget which part. If it was the pennies, there was so much that happened in a short amount of time
There's
that I
so
can't remember it.
much.
So something
I
happened. I
think
forget which
I
part of
can't
it
remember
was.
because she starts being like fine, and then she was like, no, never mind. I'm crazy. I'm gonna just go to therapy. And then I
So
can't remember
she,
what it was. But
'cause
yeah, something happens and
she talked to Eddie, the construction worker that helped her find Aiden, and then mm, quotations. There's a reason
God, Eddie.
there's reason there's quotations. We'll come back to that. We'll come
Eddie
back to
is a
that.
really good side character.
Yeah, we'll come back to that. Hang on. So we, she, because he had talked about therapy, and so she
Yeah.
asked him for the therapist. He said David Letterman, but also Eddie has a tendency to get high, so she's asking him questions, and he's like, "Huh?" So she's like, "I'm pretty sure it's not that, but I'm gonna try to look him up anyway." She can't find it, so then she's like, "Okay," and then more stuff happens, and then she's finally like, "All right, Claire, or all right, Fiona, get your sister over here, help me out. This is getting too much."
Yep.
And so the sister comes over and they start walking through this process of the seance and contacting. And I okay, maybe there's maybe a couple things that annoyed the shit out of me was Kayla's reaction to the seance and how it freaked her out. And she just ran and hid. Like
Yeah.
I was like, girl, you've been having all this shit happen this whole time.
Like this isn't even the worst of it.
No, and I'm like, she freaked out so hard and like ran and hid somewhere. And then, they're coming to go find her and they're like, why did you open all the drawers and stuff? She's like, I don't know, it just happened. And it's like, that what happened at the table was not the worst thing. And you freaked out over that.
Yeah. And you
And
freaked over it. Yeah.
I think it was just her innate struggle to accept that it was a paranormal entity. Like that
I
part alone
agree.
took so long.
Yeah.
That was the only part that I was kind of frustrated with, because I think if we had gotten to that point where she accepted it, it would have progressed at a faster rate. Granted, it
I
was already
agree.
fast paced, but I feel like that was a bit more drawn out than necessary
Yeah.
to an extent. Just that's like that's a nitpicky note. It's just something I
Yeah.
noticed because I was getting frustrated because I was like, "Girl, just accept
I
that there's a
will
ghost. Accept that there's a
I'll agree
ghost."
with that. She just keeps trying to explain it away and stuff keeps happening and you're like literally in your brain, how do you keep explaining this away? Like you
You
know
can't.
that this is not right.
You're
Yeah.
seeing a
I
boy, you're seeing
agree.
some weirdo
I
dude, and
agree with that.
like there and like proof
And
after
the
proof
coin.
of, and she has security footage supposedly now,
I know there's nothing
and there's
there.
nothing there, and I'm like, what else do you need to accept? Like that part
Yeah.
was frustrating for me. On
Honestly, the whole security thing made me love Aiden so much more though, because
hmm
literally the second day
he's like, you need security.
you need security, and you don't realize that he knows
What that
what's
like?
wrong.
Yeah, he picks up
from
on
the
it really
beginning.
quickly
He picks up on it so quickly.
because of his own experience.
Yeah, exactly. Because of his experience, he can see these things and he very much wants to protect her. And it just, that, I think that was one of the things that made the ending so visceral and so powerful was that you know that he loves her and to finally understand the depth of that.
Yes.
To what degree? Like you already love him. And then to see like just the line, who did you think was ringing the doorbell? I bawled so hard. I was like, oh my God. Ah. It was just, it was beautiful. It's the love that you want.
Yeah,
Like
it
as
really
much
is the
as you
love that you
don't
want.
want this story to happen to you, that that is what true love is. This
Hmm.
story is what true love is. Aiden is what true love is and what every person deserves out of love.
I agree. And I don't know if we'll be able to explain everything away. We just or not explain everything away, but explain
Yeah.
what all happened because it would take like 3 hours. But
Yeah. Yeah. And I
we're
think
not,
it's important for people to come to their own conclusion with that and have that special relationship with the ending of the book.
yes. I think
Yeah.
I think we can give, yeah, we're not going to give everything away, obviously. It's just there's too many layers to it, but I will say once she finally does accept it and does they because she doesn't want to do another seance. That was the other frustrating part. She was like, I
Yeah.
can't do that because she was so scared, right? And I have to give the side characters Claire and Fiona props because
She
I
had
would
some
have been,
patience.
yeah, I was ready to be like,
I've been like shaking
woman,
her and been like,
yeah,
oh my
what
God.
else? You have to do this. This is like your only other option. God. And it took ages. And then, and, at this point,
Well, what
Aiden,
Fiona said comes back and she's
yeah,
like, you can't just
you
tell
can't,
people things.
well, you can't tell the dead that they're dead because she's
You
trying to
can't tell the
explain
other dead. Yeah.
because they can't explain it because once you die, it's confusing. And so that's something that does come back later, which we'll find out.
Mm.
But
Hmm.
but at this point, it's really just her trying to figure this out because Aiden has taken a step back because he's like,
Yeah.
you need to have a moment of acceptance before we can move forward. So Aiden has at this point taken a step back from the relationship, not because he wants to, but because he recognizes that she needs this moment. She needs to be able to take this moment to understand what's going on. And so
Yeah.
I think that happened after, yeah, that happened after the first seance. So then she comes back and asks for them to come back, the Claire and Fiona to come back. And that's when they come back. And it's starting to piece together what is going on. I'm not going to give everything
Yeah.
away,
They go
but
into the office and things click.
things start clicking and she starts recognizing stuff and she starts realizing things. And it's so heartbreaking
It
also
is.
in that moment because she realizes that she's not alive. And that's the shocker point of all that. That was one of the bigger shocks is this whole time she has been dead and she has been haunting this house and she's the one that's been
Yeah.
causing all the things and she hasn't did not realize or accept the fact that she was dead and has been haunting this house that has already been sold to a new family and the family that lives there has a
Has a little boy.
boy and that little boy is not her little boy. It
Hmm. She's freaking out this little boy, actually.
Yeah, she's scaring the crap out of this little boy. And so like one that part where she when it all hits her and she's and that it ends with her screaming and
Yeah.
then it
And it's
goes in
almost like a storm. It was
that's like
so well written.
that was just the ending of part one. I didn't realize there was a part two. I didn't realize like it was a whole like part one, part two thing. And then it goes into part two and it has Dante's Inferno, one of Dante Inferno's like quotes or whatever. And then it goes into uh Fiona and her perspective and Claire's perspective of how they're watching her react and realize like they know she's a ghost. They're
Yeah.
having to softly and gently explain it to her. And then
Yeah.
it sees like from their perspective of what of okay. Kayla is recognizing what's happened and she realizes the perspective of like, oh, that's why Fiona reacted the way she did. That's
Yes.
why, because she
Yes.
was like,
And then
"Oh,
she
hi."
relives it.
Yeah, she relives all the different interactions and realizes like, "Oh, oh, like light bulb."
This is what happened. Everything comes back. The memory glitches are gone, and it really, it really is heartbreaking.
And then what happens? What happens on New Year's Eve?
Mm.
Her final moments. I don't know if I
Her
want to
final
talk into
moments.
that because
Yeah, I think
that's a point where someone needs to read and to experience
you
that because
have
I
to
don't want to
experience
ruin
that.
that.
Yeah.
But I
But
will
I
tell
will,
you
yeah.
tissues.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I
You
was
need that
bawling.
tissue box.
And it's a gut punch. It's so hard to describe because it was heartbreaking, but heart repairing all at the
Although
same time.
within a very short time frame, like within
Yeah.
like if you're reading this, if you're able to read it nonstop, the part two, which I would say, because I think that's around like chapter 38, so we're nearing
Like the
the end.
last quarter of a book, maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe
but
a
it's
little bit
like
less than that.
yeah, it is the most important part of the book though.
It
That
is.
that part two, if you're able to just if you finish part one before you even
Yeah.
start part two, I recommend you make sure you get all what you need to
You
get
have
handled.
you
You
need to
don't
have time. You're not going to stop part two.
yeah, you're not going to get interrupted
Hmm.
because there is no point in that part two that
No, where you can stop.
where
No.
is a appropriate stopping point
No, there's
to
not.
there really isn't. And you're going to want to sit to read it that from that because it's the emotional roller coaster you go on.
Oh
It
my
is
God. And it's so
insane.
good. It's so good.
And you're going to need tissues. Like I said
Hmm.
earlier, I did not cry because I had both sides, but I was also in a public setting and I was trying really hard not to
Yeah.
bawl. Because I didn't know anybody there and it would have been really strange
Kind of weird.
for a girl to just be crying on the corner in a chair. So I was
Honestly, though, if there was a girl just crying, the bookstore would probably be, I'd be like, seems like somebody's having a moment with this book.
yeah. To be fair, I did have a book in my hand that I knew I was going to buy, but I didn't have it open. I had my phone out because I was
Yeah.
reading on my Kindle on my Kindle app.
Yeah.
But um but yeah, so for me, I felt like I had that turmoil that like, oh wow, like I had to take a
Yeah.
moment and be like, oh my gosh. And I was really happy that I had decided to stay and wait in that store to read it because I didn't know
Yes.
the the depth and the emotional whiplash that you'd be getting
So much.
in that part too. So that is something that if you've already read it and then it's not really news to you, but for whatever reason, if you'd ignored all of our damn spoilers and all of our warnings and you got to this point, the
That's on
part
you.
that's on you. But the part two is the part where you definitely should not should not read separately. Like or you should not like
Yeah. Don't break that up.
don't break that up. You need to like you
You
finish
need
part
to.
one, take a moment, breathe, make sure you get everything you need to get done so you can focus on
You,
part two because
yes.
that part two you
It's
need
a
that
gift.
time.
It's a
You
gift to
need
you.
that time. Um, holy crap.
This
It
book, it has not gotten the hype that it deserves.
it really didn't. And I didn't say it because I don't want to because I feel like if we talk about Aiden and his twist, it would spoil too much of the ending.
I know I don't want to do that because it's so good.
Yeah, so we're not going to talk about that. But I will say this, the touches that happen at the end of part like throughout the part two before it gets into that final calling card, I guess, the curtain closing on what happened.
Yeah,
Uh, it's beautiful.
it is beautiful.
And it's touching and you need to give yourself the moment to experience it because it is a lot. It is a lot and it may be triggering
It's a
to
lot.
some because of what happens.
Yes.
So just be aware.
Read the trigger warnings because this
Yeah.
is a triggering book.
There
Um,
there
if you
is
can read it.
mental physical abuse. It does get talked about. They don't go in depth as some of these other books can with the physical aspect, but
Yeah.
the emotional ties to this
Yeah.
book is
Now,
is going to wreck you.
the spice is in depth.
The spice is in
I just
depth.
want my husband to call me his little rabbit.
I know the bunny and the lion. Oh my
Little
God.
bunny.
I was like, I want a pet name. I need to talk to my husband. I'm
Right.
like, can we have a pet name? Can I have a pet
My
name? I want a
husband would
pet
be
name.
like, no, that's so weird.
So he's gonna be like, it's so left field. Why? I'm like, listen, dude, I've been reading all these books. There's
Right?
pet names, baby girl,
My good girl. I mean,
my good
just,
girl, my
tell me I'm a good girl.
love,
Whatever.
my love, my
Worship me.
my princess, my little viper, my
Everything.
vicious,
Right?
like all these different nicknames. I'm like, why don't I got one? I want one.
I'm
But
right.
but yes,
It's so good. It's 5 out of 5. I would give it 1,000,000 out of 5. It wrecked me. It built me back together. It made me believe in love.
it needs an emotional warning on it on the front because when
It does.
you know where this I found this book. I whenever I was in the doing my book crawl, it was in the recycle bookstore in Denton. This is it's a new book. It's not a one that was dropped off.
Yeah.
But it was just in one of those like circular rotating book things. And it wasn't like prominent.
Ugh.
It wasn't like there was no warnings or anything with it.
Yeah.
Like this is a book
That
that
needs its own
needs
display.
yeah, it needs its own display and needs like this will an emotion if you are a supreme empath or just have a higher thing with like emotional stuff,
Yes,
this
this.
will get you
I also
hard.
have to say the intellectual side of this book with Dante's Inferno and how
That is
that
interwoven.
is interwoven into this is literary genius.
I know we said it, but JT Gessinger, oh shit, she's a good writer. She's a
It's
phenomenal writer.
brilliant. If you
And
if you know Dante's Inferno at all, it's it's such a turn on in this book intellectually for me
mhm,
to see how deeply interwoven that is of like Dante going through hell and coming out the other side and both of them going through hell and coming out the other side but then going back through hell to save the other person and
mhm.
still come out the other side like mm,
And just how layered that is.
yeah
You
it's
said it such a good way, but it to many that would be watching this or listening, it sounds simple, but oh my God, it's not. It's
it's
so
really not.
not simple. It
It's
is so not
so
simple.
intricate. It's like a beautiful stained glass window. I don't know how she did it. She wove all the pieces together, and my God, the ending is gorgeous.
Hmm. Highest praise we could give this book, I think.
I
And you know what?
exactly.
The more we talk about it, the more I'm like, you know what? I think I would move this up to a number one book. I am gonna move it up to one, just because for now, I still hesitant because there's so many more books
There
to
are, I
read.
think for me, it's the complexity of it and the number of categories for me that it hits and is so satisfying in that puts it above other books
I agree. I agree.
because it's so broad across book tropes and topics and genres. It's everything.
And I think also because it's not as fantasy as we make it sound. It hits so many real life noses, like
It
real
is,
life
yeah,
points. There's a lot of real life moments where you're like, oh, you get it. Like, oh, I get that.
I get
Like,
it exactly.
and with some of these other books that we've read, it does touch on like contemporary and whatnot, but it's still a bit more fantasy in many sense, in a lot of
Yeah,
sense. And then another good aspect would be like Quicksilver is in my top five. I would give it like a
yeah.
third spot, third or second
I
spot,
still
just
have to read that.
because of the world
I'm gonna
building and
start that.
the characters and all that just in that alone. And then
Yeah.
Brimstone's coming out in November. So
Mm.
the second part, which is gonna be huge. But anyways, that's kind of my point. Like that type of building up, where in that
Yeah,
fantasy world, it was a huge build up. There was a lot of it's good. It's just there is a lot of story that goes into it. Whereas this was still there was still story, but it was so complex.
It was
that
extremely complex for something like you're talking about that doesn't go into fantasy. It still has that intricate level of complexity,
in a
and
shorter
you're gonna
book.
love it in a shorter book, and it really is just beautifully done.
And what I mean by shorter book, it's not like 500 plus pages. Like
Yeah,
some
no,
fantasy
it's
books are like because there's so much world building involved,
yeah, they
they
have to be like
they
thick
go
boys.
thick. This is not that. I think this is what. Let me check. Where are we at here? This is a bonus chapter, not the bonus chapter. Uh 355 pages.
That's
That's
not bad.
that's not bad for the amount of complexity and the amount of layers this has. That's amazing.
And the emotional impact that it has.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like this is amazing.
that's
It's not a
impressive.
fantasy book. And it's not a fantasy book.
Hmm.
So that's where I'm like, yeah, like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Everybody
would
should
say
read
it's a
this.
top.
It needs more hype.
It needs to be it's in my top, it's my number one spot currently. I say that
Yeah.
tentatively because there's always a potential for another book to come along and wow us too. But it's not my number one. I would say Haunted is my second just because it just hits so many points on a personal level for me that I enjoy.
Yeah.
And then Quicksilver would probably be my third, just because I love the backstory with that.
I love it. Now I'm going to start Haunted and Quicksilver this weekend. Well, I'll wait on Haunted because you said that one I'll want to talk about immediately. That was like pen pal. We had to push this one up because it was so good.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm going to start Quicksilver because I know that's coming up down the list. I'll start that this weekend and
Yeah.
that'll be good.
It's good. That's a book you listen to.
Yeah. Okay.
There there's some scenes in that book you're gonna want to listen to.
Ooh.
But
Who
I
narrates that?
oh, what is his name? You had to ask me
Let
that.
me
I'm
look it up.
blanking. But I don't want to
Ask
get
the
too much
hard
on Quicksilver
questions.
since we were since we're talking about Pen Pal. But
Yeah.
yes, JT Geissenger, phenomenal writer. We're also going to be reviewing some of her other books. So I've finished it.
She's an
Maddie
amazing author.
Maddie's working through the Queen and Monster series, so that's going to be
Yes.
brought into here as well. But we're trying not to do back to back JT Gessinger because that's just too
I'm
many.
pretty sure that we could just do all of her books. She's one of those authors. I'm going to end up reading everything she's ever written because she's so good.
No, I agree, but
Yeah.
I don't
Yep.
want to do
You
back
don't
to
want to do
back.
it like back to back. We got to bring some
We need
variety in.
we need to space it
But
out.
but
Uh,
know that she's coming back to the podcast because we
yeah,
love her.
yeah, she's gonna be recurring one for sure.
But
So
read it. Read it, read it,
yeah,
read it, read it.
so read it, listen to it. Make sure you take care of what you need to take care of in order to get this full
Yes.
experience. And yeah, 5 stars. JC
Yeah.
Gessinger, Pen Pal, 5 stars.
Not a single bad note of this book.
Yeah, yep. So
But
thank you everyone for
yeah,
listening.
thanks, guys. We'll see
Let
you
us
next
know in the
time.
yeah, let us know in the
Yeah.
comments if you like this.
Tell us about
Um,
your trauma with this book too,
yeah,
because I need
we
emotional
need to
support,
share
people.
we need to share the trauma, or at least
This is one of those books you share the trauma.
yeah, and oh, and
It
please
hurts
subscribe on our
so
YouTube
good.
channel.
Yes, please subscribe on
Subscribe,
our YouTube channel. We're on
yeah,
TikTok, Instagram. Hit us
YouTube.
up.
We also
We're
have
cool.
Patreon. We're working through all the social media
All the
things.
things.
So, but thank you.
Thanks,
Bye.
guys.